Welcome to the Hyper Growth Zone podcast. This is your go-to resource for personal growth, mastering communication, and influencing and persuasion techniques that will help you unleash the full potential of yourself and others. Here is your host, Alex Morgan.
Welcome to another episode of the Hyper Growth Zone podcast. My name is Alex Morgan, and I'm a master trainer of hypnosis and NLP. And on this episode, lately I've been creating some content on YouTube around getting over anxiety. So I wanted to make an episode here because a lot of people have been asking me various questions, what they can do, what works, how they can recognize anxiety, and things like this. So a lot of these things, they don't only work with anxiety. You can do what I'm going to share with a lot of minor negative emotions. However, the thing that we want to go into specifically more is anxiety. So with the fast-paced world out there today, I'm sure there's plenty of people that have anxiety. So if you do or you know someone that does, please share this episode with them. It might be really helpful so that they can live a much better day-to-day life where they actually have a way to help themselves with their anxiety. Because the whole purpose of this podcast is to change not necessarily what you think, how you think. So if you do have anxiety, I want you to think about during this episode how you can think differently about it, how you can actually create different sensations, different feelings, different pictures in your mind, even different sounds. Maybe this will help you get rid of some of the triggers that trigger your anxiety. So think about how you can change your thinking around this, because when your thinking changes and you change from within, your whole outer reality changes, and doing the inner work is much easier than you think. So one of the first things to consider with anxiety, and I'm going to share a personal story of mine. So when I got into hypnosis and NLP towards, the beginning of 2018 now, so quite a few years ago, I went to the training, and before the training, I had anxiety from different things. I had gone bankrupt at the time. I was coming out of a relationship that failed. If you want my whole story, you can listen to the very first episode of this podcast. So I had anxiety, and I went to the training. We were doing a bunch of wonderful techniques. I was really changing how I thought about a lot of things. However, there was still some anxiety left, even after doing a lot of the techniques. However, once we got to a specific part of the training where I was able to let go of fear, this is when my anxiety went away. And since then, yes, I've had stress before. Yes, I've had a little bit of anxiety here and there. However, I'm able to tell myself a different story because I got rid of fear. And I do this every so often where I also let go of the emotions. Again, you should work on emotions because if you're holding them in your body, could cause disease. They're not good for the body. So make sure to release emotions, especially fear, because many times, many people that I work with as well, when they let go of fear, doesn't matter what the fear is of, a lot of times it lets go of the anxiety. And people are afraid of all kinds of stuff, which is completely fine. It's only because we kind of got taught limitations over times. Maybe we think we're not good enough and we're scared to do something. Maybe we think we can't make enough money and we're scared to really start that business and do something. And then we get anxious about it. So the first thing to consider is if you're afraid of a lot of things, or if you have fear, if you can let go of that fear, a lot of times you won't have to deal with that anxiety, not only today, for many years. And you can always do a nice little tune-up. It's good to do a little tune-up on your mind every so often. And that's what I help people do. So if you do want to get rid of fear, make sure to reach out. All my information is in the description of the episode. So fear, if you can get rid of fear, a lot of times anxiety goes with it. Now, another thing to consider that I think is really important, and this was something that for me as well, that I really, when I see people have anxiety, when they recognize it, the important thing is to recognize it in your body. Because if you don't recognize it in your body, then your mind starts going crazy as well. And then your physical response gets worse. So if you can recognize it right away, where it is in your body, what the feeling is like, and adjust your breathing, maybe adjust your posture, adjust how you're talking to yourself, then it won't necessarily spiral to where you don't have good control of it. Because changing how you think about stuff, especially anxiety, it's also really not just getting rid of the anxiety right then and there. It's about changing how you think around it. So having a strategy that you can do in your mind that's different than what you're doing right now. So when you feel that anxiety, you feel something coming on, start to take big, deep, shallow breaths into your stomach, breathing in. And as you breathe in, your stomach goes out. And when you breathe out, your stomach goes in. You can do some nice, big, deep breaths. This will have the oxygen flow through your body much more, because what do most people do when they have anxiety? If you've ever had anxiety, you're probably breathing shallow and into your chest. And all this does is makes it a bit worse. It doesn't necessarily change anything. So I'm not saying just because you recognize it and just because you breathe, everything is going to change. You need to do a combination of different things. And I already mentioned one, getting rid of fear, letting go of the emotion of fear. Recognize the physical responses. So these are a few things that you can do without really doing anything else, and this will really help you day to day. Because I know a lot of people with anxiety, it's something they feel not just a little bit, they feel it quite often. So I definitely have empathy for you. I definitely have compassion for you. So that's why I'm making this episode. So I hope it really helps you and guides you that there is much better ways, that you don't have to live with something like this. Because a lot of times when people do things like hypnosis or coaching with NLP, getting rid of fear and all these different things, people maybe have had anxiety for 5 years, 10 years, 20 years, 30 years. So decades. I'm talking decades worth of something. You can literally get rid of decades worth of something if you change how you think about it. You get rid of fear and other things. Of course, you need to also take action and focus on what you want, because that's another thing to consider. A lot of times when you have anxiety, it just means that you're worried about something in the future that hasn't even happened yet. Now, it's normal. That's what minds do. They wander. We can't necessarily completely stop the mind. However, if your mind does wander, I've made a whole episode on staying in the present moment, what we use the past for, what we use the future for. So the future, if your mind is going out into the future and you're worrying about something that hasn't even happened yet, most of the things that we're worried about, they don't even happen. So we use the future for planning. The past is for learning, and the present is for, being, taking action, existing, doing whatever it is that you want to do to achieve your goals. So use the future for planning, not for worrying. So if you think about something and it's worrying you, think, is there something that I can do about it right now that's actually feasible, that I could do something about it right now? If your answer is no, then put a time on your calendar when you plan to tackle this, and then do it during that time. If it is feasible to do right now, so you don't have those thoughts, then do something about it right now. And it could be something that's completely inconsequential, so stop thinking about it. Like I said, it's okay. Your mind does wander, and your mind can worry. It's completely normal. That's what minds do. However, if you stop every single time and ask yourself, when did I decide that I had to worry about this? What's the purpose of worrying about it? And you give yourself time to actually think about it instead of the thought just going over and over in your mind. Then you'll build a new strategy. You'll learn to slow down, take pauses, so then your emotions don't keep firing and firing, and that leads to anxiety and things like this. Because a lot of the stuff, like I said, a lot of the stuff that we worry about, it doesn't actually end up happening. So I'm going to share now some different little methods, techniques, whatever you want to call them, little tricks that you can use to get rid of anxiety. And these get rid of anxiety fast. I'm not saying that you do these and your anxiety is going to be completely gone. You might have to do a combination of things. Like I mentioned earlier, you're going to have to get rid of fear. You might have to use some of these methods throughout the day. You might have to get better sleep. It depends. Every person is different. A lot of the people have similar problems. However, the solution for every person can be different because not one thing works for every single person. So if you want to find out for yourself, then definitely reach out to me. So the first one, and I made a video about this and posted it on Instagram not too long ago, I think just over the weekend here, is you find a spot on the wall in front of you. And you look slightly up. So have this spot be so you can access the visual part of your mind. So you're looking slightly up on this wall. And focus both your eyes using your foveal vision right on this spot, just looking straight at it. Like you were a kid in school learning, just looking straight in the front of the room. And then after a few moments, keep your eyes on the spot the whole time. However, expand your vision a little to the right and to the left. So you're using the peripheral vision. And at this point, you should notice you're maybe feeling more calm. You're maybe feeling more peaceful, relaxed, comfortable, whatever that is for you. Expand your vision even more while always keeping your eyes on that spot. Expand your vision even further to the left, further to the right. It's almost like it's to each side to where it can't go any further. However, keeping your eyes on that spot, bring your awareness to everything all the way around you. It's almost like you can see everything in a 360-degree circle around you. You can become aware of so much in the room just by keeping your eyes on that spot. Good. So hold that for a few seconds, and then you can let go of it and come back. You don't have to focus your eyes on the spot anymore. So what does this do? This changes your state. So if you combine this with some nice breathing, it's almost impossible to be in a negative state when you're using that part of your vision as you're focusing on a spot. So if you ever get any sort of anxiety and you're inside, you can focus on a spot on the wall. You can also use this if you're walking down the street and you're outside and you get anxious. Focus on a spot far in front of you and just have your awareness open up on each side. Maybe people are afraid to fly. You get it on the airplane. Focus on a spot in front of you on the airplane and imagine that your peripheral vision starts to open up, your awareness opens up, and you bring in those different sensations. That's the thing, we're giving you a new strategy here. Instead of feeling anxious, you recognize that physical in your body, wherever it is, then do this right away. It should easily calm you down a bit. It'll quiet your mind a bit. Your mind may still wander. That's okay. That's what minds do. However, it could quiet it down just a bit so you feel much better. Like I said, this isn't like a be-all, end-all, fix anxiety. You'll never have anxiety again. However, the unconscious mind, it loves repetition for a habit to be installed. So instead of running a strategy in your mind, oh my gosh, I have anxiety, what if you thought, I feel so calm, I feel so relaxed, comfortable, peaceful. I'm creating this nice place of relaxation for me just by setting aside a couple of minutes each day. So think about that. And then that over time becomes a strategy. You get used to feeling that way. Your mind wants to go to those places instead. It wants to go to those states, and those are resourceful for you. Those are going to help you. This state is really good. This that we just went into, this is really good for learning. Learning is state related. So if you're relaxed and calm and comfortable and peaceful and you're learning something, guess what? You're going to enjoy the information. You're probably going to even want to tell people about it. Maybe even teach it to someone. So that's the first little exercise there. The next exercise, it's more visualization. There's a few different ways to do this. So what you can do is you can imagine yourself in a really relaxing place for you outside. It could be a place you've been, a place that you want to go, or it could be a place that you just totally make up with your imagination. Whatever one you do is perfect for you. And since you're outside, you could look up in the sky and you notice a big white puffy cloud. And that big white puffy cloud, that is your anxiety. And slowly the cloud, the big white puffy cloud, it starts to fade away. And it starts to fade away some more. It's almost like it's 10 miles away. 20 miles away. It's fading away. It's like it's 150 miles away. And it keeps fading away as your anxiety fades and fades away and you relax. You're calm, you're peaceful. You're comfortable. And it's 1,000 miles away. It's like you can't even feel anything anymore. So you could do a little visualization or guided imagery like this, where you imagine what you're feeling there and having it fade away. Because usually in our mind, when we don't like something, if you were to ask yourself, hey, what's something I like? And you thought of like your favorite food. Chances are, if you ask yourself, what's the location on your mental screen? It would probably be somewhere closer to you in front of you. However, if you ask yourself, what about a food that you don't like or something that you don't like? Chances are it would be off in a way, in front of you, to the left, to the right, somewhere further away, because you wouldn't want it that close to you. So same thing with this anxiety here. Why would you want it close to you? Move it as far away as you can so it lessens the feeling. And instead you can create different sensations. So another thing that you can do, so those are two easy things that you can do. Another visualization is you can imagine yourself that there's a line and you're standing behind this line. And on the other side of the line is your anxiety. And your anxiety starts to move further and further away. And it goes further and further away. And you're safe on this side of the line because the anxiety would never come to this side of the line. It can't. It has to move further away in the other direction. It goes further away in the other direction. So that's another visualization to do. Another thing that you can do is you can create different sensations in your body. So we already spoke about how you can change the location and the speed of your breathing. This is really going to help because it changes the physical response. Another thing that you can do, a lot of people do this for stress and anxiety. It's called autogenic training, is you can create different sensations in your body. So for example, you could sit down, you can close your eyes, you can relax for a few moments, and you can create relaxation, let that wave of relaxation go through you, go over you, above you, behind you, below you, to the left, to the right. It's like relaxation is going everywhere, through you and around you, and it feels so good. And with your hands on your lap, you can tell yourself, my hands are warm and heavy. My hands are warm and heavy. My hands are warm and heavy. And then you can go to your stomach and tell yourself, my stomach is soft and warm. My stomach is soft and warm. My stomach is soft and warm. And how about your heartbeat? My heartbeat is calm and regular. My heartbeat is calm and regular. My heartbeat is calm and regular. And you're giving yourself these nice suggestions. And your forehead, my forehead is calm and cool. My forehead is calm and cool. My forehead is calm and cool. And then you can give yourself a suggestion. I'm at peace. I'm at peace. I'm at peace. So you can create these different sensations from within, and you're doing this from within. That's what autogenic essentially means. And they use this in the medical field as well to help patients that have stress and things like this around surgeries. So it has a lot of research backing it up as well, autogenic training. So these are some different things that you can use for anxiety. Like I said, just to review a bit, you need to also look at fear. If you get rid of fear, a lot of times it gets rid of a lot of anxiety. You won't have to even think about anxiety. Think of the physical symptom or the physical response that you're having. Change how you feel. So breathing, all that, how you talk to yourself, the picture in your mind. You can do any of these visualization exercises or creating any different sensations that I showed you here. I hope all of this helps. If you want more help with anxiety, I'm going to put a link to a hypnosis audio that I've created on autogenic training, and I have some on anxiety too. You can always go to our YouTube channel, Athens NLP Studies, where I have, I think, over 110, 120 hypnosis audios that you can listen to that will also help you. If you want, though, to work on yourself and really work on your specific strategy, please reach out to me. I'm here to help. I'm happy to help and guide you through this so you can get the results that you deserve. So thanks so much for listening to the episode. Go ahead and rate the podcast wherever you are listening, and hope to see you on the next episode.